Alright, cool. This is my instructional video for how to make a caterpillar stitch. And I'm not going to actually do it on a book, so that you can just see how the stitch basically works. I'm going to do it here. So, first thing you need to know is that, of course, you cut holes in a line, and they need to be paired. So if you have 50 holes on the one side, you have to have 50 holes on its opposing side. The caterpillar stitch is a 2-needle stitch, and I'm going to use curved needles because that's how it's easier to sew the caterpillar stitch on a book, especially going through the signatures. Sometimes it makes going through board, like on your cover, a little less easy, but that's okay. So just to start, I'm going to put both sides of my thread, and this is the same thread, by the way. This is just the two ends of one piece of thread. So, I'm going to grab these guys and pull them through so the middle is on the back of the board. Okay, so they're coming out of the first hole on both sides, and on the back, right there. Okay, so that's that. And because you're working with 2 strings, I highly advise keeping them separate on each side. So I'll keep that one on that side, and the other one will live on the other side, respectively. So the first stitch, you're going to go across to the other side, and you're going to go into, you're going to go into the hole beside the nearest occupied hole. The first hole is occupied, so we're going to go beside. When you're doing the caterpillar stitch, you can either go beside or you can skip. And you only go beside in the beginning, when you're doing the starting of the caterpillar stitch. So, in the beginning, we'll go beside and across, starting from the left. And I have a hugely long thread, and I don't know why. I was being silly. So, it's across and beside. And then, you can see it's coming out the back here. And I'm going to span across this back portion and come out the opposing second hole. If I can find it with my needle. Okay, there you go. I need someone hovering over my shoulder telling me to lift up the board. Pull that through. Okay, so going behind like that, I'm going to call it a span. So I just spanned after going across beside. So the next part of this first stitch is to go underneath that first stitch that we created by going across and beside, so that it looks like, oh, get the right string. Okay, so it's right there behind that first stitch. Okay, and this time let's go through all the way behind that stitch. Okay, so we've gone behind that stitch. This is really out of focus, sorry. So we're behind that stitch, and now we're going to skip. And it's important to remember on the caterpillar stitch that at the end of every stitch you are going to skip across. So we're going to not go in this hole, we're going to skip that hole and go in this hole. So we're going to skip across. Ta-da! Ta-da! So after you do this first stitch, it should look like this. It should look like you have a horizontal and then a diagonal. I'm going to leave that string over there, and that's the first stitch. The second stitch in the beginning of the caterpillar, you're starting on your right, and you're going to go beside, because you're starting it. You're not going to skip in the beginning. Oh, that's sort of strings. Oh, okay. So, I don't know if you can see that, but that is where I went beside. And I'm going to span, so I just went in the third hole, so I'm going to come out the third hole as I span. Pull that out. Okay. And next, you're going to go behind these first two stitches that I created on the right. Okay. The first two, see where they're going through there? Behind those first two stitches. Right there. See, it's behind those two. And to finish this second stitch, you're going to skip across because you're finishing it. Word to the wise, use shorter string when demonstrating. Okay. So you've done the first two stitches.